Why is it important to try to use all English in English class? I know you know the answer to this, but maybe the other teachers you're going to train won't. So here's a way you can explain it. It's something called comprehensible input. Beginners are like empty refrigerators. They don't know anything. So this boy says, to make a sandwich, I need food. To speak English, I need English input. Input is the food that we give the learners for their brains. And so he needs, we need to put something in their brains before they can make English. So we can say output needs input. So input is English listening and reading. And it goes in your brain and you store it in your brain, and then that gives you something to say when you are outputting or talking or writing. So we need to put a lot of input into their brains. And the way that we have to do that is through something called comprehensible input. That's input that the learners can understand. And this is an idea by this man, Stephen Krashen. He is a professor at UC Los Angeles. His idea is that we need to give students some language that is understandable to them. Now, it shouldn't be at their current level of proficiency. What that means is it shouldn't be something that they 100% understand. But it shouldn't be something that's too hard. It should be something that is just a little bit above what they know right now. It's a little bit like the ZPD. We want to give them something a little bit harder than what they know right now so they can learn. But we want to give them scaffolding so they can understand it. And that's what comprehensible input is. It's giving them input that's scaffolded. It's a little bit harder than what they know, but we give them visuals or gestures so they understand. Another way to think about comprehensible input is this. This blue box is what students know now. But comprehensible input is giving them +1. That means a little extra and above what they already know. And the way that you could do this is through scaffolding. So some people have asked me, what is classroom English? Well, here's an easy way to think about it. So the jar is your English class. The balls are textbook language, things that the textbook tells you to teach or the curriculum. Like, for example, in I think chapter 4 of Hi Friends, vocabulary is fruit, pets, and sports. The grammar is, do you like? Yes, I do. No, I don't. Okay, so if you look at this jar, you might think, oh, my English class is just teaching these things from the textbook, the balls. Do you think it's full? I mean, it might look full, but it's not really full. It really doesn't have that much in it. These are classroom English. So watch, classroom English is all the English that you put around the balls. It's all the things that you say aside from just the textbook language. Things like social language, like directions, like greeting, like telling them what supplies they need, those kind of things. So let's see, how much space do you have for classroom English? Wow. So look at that. Some people might think, oh, it's enough to just teach the textbook language. But you can get a lot more English in for your students. You can get all of this stuff around the textbook. So it's very important to help the teachers to learn some classroom English that they can use and repeat a lot. So the question is, how can I use almost 100% English to teach classroom English? Well, you have to use comprehensible input. And that means you have to use language that's a little higher than what students already know, but you use lots of gestures and visuals to help them understand. And after you repeat lots of times, day after day, they will start to acquire or learn that input, that English information. So here's some ways to make your classroom more comprehensible, your classroom English. One thing is to always write your directions on the board with a picture. So if we're going to do an art project and I want them to cut something, glue something, draw it, and then talk about it, I'm going to put my directions here on the board every time. So after a week or 2 weeks, they will know that this is gluing and this is cutting and that cut means this. Okay, and they will also start to acquire some of these words to read them. Another thing is to always put your agenda on the board in English with some pictures next to it, because these are words they're going to see every day. So for the Spanish lesson, I said, yo puedo use colores y números, colors and numbers, para describir mi arte, to describe my art. And so there were some words like aprender, learn. I put a picture of a girl learning next to it. Colores, I put colors next to that word, so you know it's colors. Canción, song, I put this. So if you saw this every day for a few weeks, you would start to learn that aprender means learn, and that canción means song. But you might not know that if I only explained it to you in your native language. And then another thing to do is with routine chants. So if you have a chant that you're going to teach your students in English to get their attention maybe, then teach it in English and put pictures on the board with the words. Like 1, 2, 3, eyes on me, 1, 2, eyes on you. Here I have a picture of eyes so they can know what eyes mean. And then mac and cheese, there's mac and cheese, everybody freeze. So every time you repeat things in a classroom, you want to be able to use some kind of visual with it to help them, or gestures as well. And of course, repeating is really good. So the idea of creating a print-rich environment in English is similar to comprehensible input. Comprehensible input just means you speak a lot in English, but you use gestures or visuals to help. Print-rich means that you actually have writing all over the walls. If you look at an American classroom, you'll see there are posters and there's writing everywhere. Because when students are sitting there, maybe they're bored, they're looking around and they're reading the print, they're reading. So even if they haven't learned the alphabet yet, they can start to learn to memorize some words by sight. So for example, if I have a game language poster here, and I'm looking a lot at it to try to remember how to say, good job, bravo, in Spanish, then I might start to learn that this word means bravo, good job, because I see it a lot. Again, social language, putting that on the board to help them. Labeling classroom items. So next to the tape in the classroom, right, tape. Next to the stapler. After seeing those things again and again, they will learn to memorize that word by sight. Also, song lyrics. If you teach a song, keep the lyrics on the wall. Don't take them down. Just start to make a gallery of different posters that you can have all over your wall. So they're just surrounded by English print. Cheers. If you teach them a cheer, like the alligator, show them a picture with the word and hold it up when you do the alligator. That way, they will start to connect this word with the word alligator. Later, when you're teaching phonics and you're teaching a is a, you can say, hey, where is a word that we see a lot that has a in it? It's alligator. Look, alligator. So this really does help with phonics a lot. Some other tips are just things I've said before. Sentence frames. Keep them on the wall after you use them. Also, directions. When you give directions, write them out, put some pictures next to them so they understand, leave them on the wall. We've already talked about these things like the agenda, leaving it up, the routine chants, other directions, and then also these kinds of charts, language charts that you make. Leave those up as well so that students will be able to look at them later if they want to remember one of those color words or number words. So I think make things, don't just use PowerPoint, and then put those things around your wall and leave them there so students can look at them later. And that's going to really help your students learn to read, write, and do phonics better in English.